Takes a minute, though. Hello, YouTube. This is BUB'S Comics coming at you with another comic call. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. No comic call. My mistake completely. Actually, we are here with the No Faces comic chat. It's Monday night. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I have with me, as pretty much almost always, he's like a bad rash, unless he's got one himself. DS Comics, say hello.
What is up, everyone?
Perfect. Fantastic. And with us, as always, we have the one, the only Metarog. Say greetings, everyone. That's your cue, bro.
Oh. Greetings, buenas noches, everyone.
That doesn't sound like Roger.
That doesn't sound like Roger. Roger, are you sick? Are you feeling all right?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. I'm coming off the bench.
Well, there's no one I'd rather have off the bench than Hialeah Comic Bro. Give whatever your customary greeting would be.
Hello, everyone. Hialeah Comic Bro here. It's a pleasure to be here once again, man. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. Glad to have it. We already have some rock stars in the chat tonight. We got the old comic smell just lurking around, just wanting people to sniff on him. And he won't even get mad at you. Just walk on up and take a lock of his hair and inhale at your leisure. He likes it. Chaos and Comics has admitted to some flatulence. We're not too worried about that. Gray Man, who doesn't have to admit it, he just has to smile just right. We all know what's going on there. We got Unruly Simeon, Hialeah Comic Bros in the house. Ben Compton, Rayman, the Silencer Man. How's it going, Ray? Good to have you, the flea market fine man himself, in the house. We got Werewolf by Lunchtime. Hey, hopefully you can catch us, watch the rest of the show tonight. If not, if you got to go to work, we understand. We got Silver Age Dave making his grand appearance in the chat tonight. Thank you. Ben Compton, Discovery Bay Comics. Oh my gosh, look at this list of fantastical people that have come to join us tonight. Thank you all for being here. If I missed anyone, it's not my fault. I sent a letter to StreamYard. We like them, but they still got some work to do, is what I think. Before they get my $20, I'll go ahead and stare at that duck all day before I fork over $20 a month for their service just yet. So, but other than that, no work today, Werewolf by Lunchtime says, so we're glad for that. DS Comics, tell me, sir, kind sir, gentleman of gentlemen, prince among men, tell me what our team name is tonight.
We are the New Year New Mutants.
And tell us the customary derivative remarks that you would like to bestow upon our team name tonight.
I mean, it's all right. I don't know. It's all right. New Year, it makes sense. New Mutants, I don't really know about that, but it's cool. I'll let it slide tonight.
Okay. Well, DS is letting it slide tonight.
Yeah, I'm with Unruly. I miss the old Mutants. I don't know who these new Mutants are, but
you missed the old Mutants?
Yeah.
Well, they're still around somewhere. If you hit up that old comic smell, you can find them. Oh, looks like we got Roger in the chat. Hello, Roger. He pretended to be sick for this chat, so now we know his Instagram has been blowing up with him just having fun with other people. So we know he's out there somewhere, living it up.
Too.
All over Instagram. He's all over it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep, I saw him bouncing on a trampoline earlier today, so I know he can't be too sick to come to work. And let's see, Discovery Basinhouse, Pope Cerebus the First, Bake the Snake, the Art Chemist. Boy, they're just rolling in. Thank you all for joining us tonight. As DS so eloquently proclaimed, we are the New Year New Mutants. And Raul, would you like to tell us what our topic is tonight, if it made any sense to you at all?
It did and it didn't. It was oh my god! It was the 2020, I guess, our wish list.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking also what we like and what we don't like of the comic community, not the community, the what's going on with comics and stuff. What we would like to see changed.
That's perfect. It can be about the community also, as this is your second appearance on this great program of ours. So I think that sometimes the questions are a little more vague, and that's fine. And the reason for that is because it's very hard to pinpoint a question, especially with DS and Roger, because they come at things so drastically different.
Yes.
Different collecting styles, different, things that they're after, different reasonings behind. Sometimes they come to the same conclusion, but they come at it from two completely different angles. So that the chat questions can be very difficult to make very specific, because I never know. Sometimes, like in the early days, DS would just say, well, the topic's okay. I don't really have anything to say about this topic because I don't collect modern books and I hate Mylar. So, but you guys go ahead and I'll throw in my 2 cents when I can. So, you remember those days, DS?
I do remember those days.
So I tried to make it a little more vague so that to avoid that that reaction. So yes, but that is in essence what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to each go around, and I want to know one thing comic related that you wish would change in 2020. And this is kind of like a superpower type thing. So it doesn't have to be something that you could actually change. It doesn't have to be something that that is realistic in any way. It can be a complete fantasy that you want changed. Okay. That's fine. And then something that you want to stay the same in comics. It can be about YouTube and the comic community. It can be about comic shops and the way they do business. It can be about the publishers and how they do things. It really is completely open-ended, as much as you want to shower upon us with that great information. And in a super, super rare instance, I'm going to go ahead and let Roger go first. Go ahead, Roger. Roger? Well, Roger couldn't make it tonight, so
I don't know if that was my cue.
Failed yet again. And instead, we'll climb over to DS and somebody poke him with a stick, and we'll get him to go ahead and go first. What do you say, DS?
Yeah, I'll go. I can, as far as things that I want to change or don't want to change, I'm going to not address that right now because, I thought about it ever since you put that topic out there in the email, and I don't know. I mean, there's nothing really about the hobby that I want to change or that I don't want to see change. So I don't know. I'll think about that and listen to what you guys have to say about it. But you'll probably be disappointed also when I talk about my 2020 want list. It's not really, I'm not making want lists anymore, and I'll explain why. And then I'll talk about some books that I do want to get, but I'm not doing want lists anymore. I did a want list the last couple of years, and what I find happens is I sort of get tunnel vision for the stuff on my list, and I go after that stuff, and I feel, you get more and more invested in the list, and then I pass up other deals to get something else because it's on my list. And that's really not how I want to collect these days. I know the type of books I want. I know when the opportunities come up. I know, like, when I see a book that I want at a good deal, I don't want to have a list there on my shoulder telling me, no, you can't get this because we've got to go after our list. So I'm not going to do a list this year, but there are some books specifically that I am looking for. And I'll be on the lookout this year. Whether I get them or not, that's another thing. But one is Startling Terror Tales 11. And it's I had a 2.0. It's a red cover, LB Cole horror book with the spider on it with the skull. And I had a 2.0 of that. It was one of my earliest Golden Age Grails that I picked up a few years back. And I sold that this year because I just want a better copy. So I'm definitely going to be looking to get a better copy of that. And hopefully I get one in 2020. And then also, surprisingly, there's a couple superhero books that I sort of want to get, and I wanted them for a long time. and they have been 2 only that have survived my transition into the Golden Age. There's still 2 superhero books that have survived and are books that I want to get. And those are Journey into Mystery 83, because I'm a huge Thor fan. I grew up with Thor. Well, yeah, I want a Jim 83. If I get one this year, that'd be awesome. If not, I'll keep looking. I'm not like hardcore to go after one, but I want to get a good deal. And I probably want something like in the 4.0 range. I don't need a killer copy, but I want a decent, sort of respectable grade, presentable copy. And the other one is most likely not going to happen in 2020. But that would be a Hulk 1. And, he's a character who's based on Frankenstein. I really like the early sort of lore of Frankenstein and how they use that as an influence for the Hulk. I think it's a killer book. It's a great investment too. That doesn't hurt with the way I collect. So Jim 83 is ahead of that, but those are 2 superhero books that I actually do want. But other than that, I think I'm just going to look around and get deals as they present themselves, and I will go after sort of bigger type Golden Age books. And then also I'm trying, so here's a 2021. I wanted sort of, I don't know, but complete, I want to fill out my bronze horror Bernie Wrightson stuff. So I've got most of the big ones of his. I've got a House of Sears 92. I've got a Swamp Thing 1 that's 80, 85-ish at CGC right now. So I'm going to pick up some of the other ones, like some of the stuff I'm showing here. The middle one is Bernie Wrightson, the other 2 aren't. So I'll work on that this year. And then, yeah, I just like to buy books that are hot and get good deals and sell them and build up a budget and just see what happens. So I'll probably make a big purchase at Heroes Con, and then I'll probably make a big purchase at Baltimore, and I'll probably make some purchases in between. So there you go. There's my 2020 outlook.
Nothing wrong with that. That sounds like quite a bit, actually, for someone who's not. I guess the difference between the want list and the what would you call it, like a focus list or a hope list? I guess that's really the only difference, huh?
Well, I mean, there's bigger.
You're trying.
I have like a wish list, like an almost never going to have type of list. And those are books that I hope to get one day. Suspense Comics 3, Fantastic Comics 3, stuff like that. Dynamic Comics 8. Those are very obscure, rare, sort of big Golden Age books. And it'd be awesome if I ever got one of those. But aside from that, Tech 31 would be awesome. I wouldn't mind getting a Tech 31. But obviously that's not going to be on like a 2020 want list, because that's freaking impossible. I don't have anywhere near the type of budget ever to get something like that. But seriously, with the way I collect these days, I think a Jim 83 is reasonable. I can get a 4.0 in a Jim 83 this year. I think that's realistic. A Hulk 1, I could probably pull off a 2 or a 3.0 of a Hulk 1 this year. I probably wouldn't get both of those, but maybe I'll get one of those. That would be awesome if I did. And then, I sell a lot of books, so that allows me to buy a lot of books. So I'll buy, I'll buy a variety of stuff. And Bronze Age stuff's pretty cheap. I picked that up when I find it, so I've got a good start on that. So yeah, a lot of stuff. And there's the Startling Terror 11. Yeah, I had a 2.0 of that. That's my favorite pre-code horror book, and I sold it.
Was that the one that had the serial ring on it?
Yeah, it had a cereal bowl ring on it. It was it was a decent copy. It was a 2.0, off-white pages, complete, attached. It didn't have any big chunks missing, but it had some staining. It had that cereal bowl stain on it. And I just want a better copy. I just want like a 4 or 5 of it. And it's not super rare. There's probably like 80 of them on the census, which for those books is not rare. So yeah, I'll try to find like a 4.0, 4.5, maybe even a 5.0 of that this year. Yeah, but that's like my favorite horror book right there.
DS, how hard was it to sell that book when you sold it?
How long did it take to sell it?
Yeah.
Not long. I put it up on Instagram for sale, and then I got a message within 20 minutes from somebody that I already talked about with it, that I said I was going to sell it. And then he worked out an deal with me, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. And you're going to be at Baltimore, so I'll bring it to Baltimore and just give me cash there. And that was like a week later.
Wow.
So I brought it to Baltimore and paid him for cash at Baltimore. So yeah, it sold pretty quick. It all depends on price. I mean, those books, they're easy to sell and they're hard to sell. They're easy to sell because everybody's looking for them. The demand outpaces supply. But they're hard to sell because they're big books. Now, if you want to give it away, you can sell it quick. You know what I mean? But if you want a fair price, I try to get, just under fair market value for these to help move them quicker. And, I just posted some stuff on Instagram today for sale that they haven't moved in a bit. And they're all three are highly sought after books. So it's not easy to move big books sometimes, but I got lucky with that one. I moved it pretty quick.
Wow. Beautiful book. That red.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And then I think this was this one, wasn't it?
Yeah. And, I've already been looking at those and pricing them and shopping them around. And there's a lot of those out there. And, for superhero book, obviously, compared to Golden Age. So, I think like a 4.0 would be a decent copy that I'd like, Yeah, I might go 3.5 if it was a really good looking 3.5. But I like 4.0s of that, I think is reasonable. And, I'll sell books and get a budget together. And then if I can find one of those at a good price that looks good, I might pull the trigger on it.
It's
cool.
It's funny you mentioned the Hulk one as your top one of your top books, because a lot of people I've noticed they're mentioning that book more than ever, and I'm not hearing so much that AF-15. I'm hearing that Hulk one, man. I think that's high on everybody's list. I hear it more than Fantastic Four 1. I hear for the superhero books. I would love that book myself. I totally agree with you. That's just an awesome book.
Yeah, and I don't know where that falls as far as I'm not like a Silver Age Marvel guru. So right. I know FF1 is like the first Marvel team, and then I think that's the first Marvel Silver Age superhero book, really. No, probably Ant-Man actually. Tales to Astonish 27.
Okay,
was before that because that was like 1959. But FF1 predates the Hulk 1, and then AF-15 predates it too, I think. So I think third on that list is either this or the Iron Man, the TOS 39. I'm not sure, but I mean, AF-15, there's so many copies out there, and it's like that book, man, that book's sliding. I mean, a lot of the stuff's been dropping, but AF-15, it's just like oversaturated in the market right now. And there's so many copies. Even going on GPA to price it, you have to scroll down forever because there's so many varieties in each grade. It's just a humongous list. So I just feel like the market's oversaturated with AF-15s. Maybe not so much with the Hulk 1s, though.
You really see it. You see it at cons, and you see way more AF-15s at cons than you do that Incredible Hulk 1.
Oh, yeah. Every dealer at a con's got an AF-15, and they don't all have Hulk 1s. It's definitely a more rare book. I don't know. I mean, it's not much cheaper.
No.
I mean, a 2.0 of that is probably, I don't know.
5.
I think it's probably more than 5.
I think it's more.
I think it's probably 7, maybe. I don't know. Maybe 5. I don't know. I top out usually on big books around 5. That starts to really push my budget the way I collect at 5. I can go higher for a special occasion on a big book, and I've been known to do that. But 5 is like, that's big book level for me is 5. So
I think what is it? The first 6 is high on everybody's wish list for Hulk.
Yeah, that would be my dream run to collect. Like any other run in my collection, including my Wolverine runs, which I care for a lot, but any other run in my collection, I would trade for that run.
Right.
So if somebody just walked in with those 6 books, I would say, I'll trade. You can take any run you want out of my collection and just give me those 6 books. I know that's an easy trade, right? But that would include.
What are the 6 books then? The FF1, Hulk 1, Jim 83.
No, I mean the first 6 Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
Incredible Hulk. Oh, yeah.
That's a run.
Yeah, I would take that.
Yeah, for sure. People talk about it, and I think it's on everybody's wish list, but very few people have even one of those.
I bought a Hulk 2 this year a couple times, and I actually made an offer on a Hulk 2 very early in the year, and I sort of regret not going after a little more just as an investment. But I think it was like a 5.0,
wow.
And I was trying to get it for like, I don't know, 1,300 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those days have passed because you're not getting a 5.0 of a Hulk 2
No.
for 1,500 anymore.
No,
I think he wanted like 16, and I didn't want to go higher than like 13 or 14, so we didn't work out a deal, but it sold quickly after that. And then, I just thought Hulk 2, I think, is a good key, and it's a good investment because it's the first Green Hulk, and it's a Hulk 2. So, I mean, it has some things going for it, and it flies sort of under the radar a little bit. It's a good investment book, I think. So I'm trying to get a copy, but I'm not hardcore for it because I don't want to collect it. But if I can find one to flip or invest in, I will.
Yeah, I think Hulk 2, or all the Hulks really, but Hulk 1 especially, I like it better than Fantastic Four 1. And I know a lot of people would disagree, and they would say, oh, the importance of Fantastic Four. And yes, historically, I do believe that Fantastic Four has more importance. It really starts the superhero age. It's Stan Lee's, masterpiece opening up to all of that. So I think it does matter. But to me, when I think of the top characters that Marvel has to offer, there are 3 top characters, and that's Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Wolverine, and I believe it's in that order. So when I think of that, to me, those, when it all shakes out, when the people that remember Fantastic Four being, buying them off the rack, when those people more or less fade out, because I don't think enough good stuff has happened with the Fantastic Four since then. Mm-hmm. It hasn't catapulted them. They may be the most important team book out there, but as far as individual characters, I think that those are the top 3. And as time shifts and values change, I really believe that Hulk 1 will well overtake an FF1 over time.
I agree with you.
So, and so will, and Hulk 181, unfortunately, it's a Bronze Age book. Mm-hmm. If it were a Silver Age book, I think it would have more chance of climbing faster even. Mm-hmm. But, there's a ton of Hulk 181s out there. It's just, a well-produced book. So,
well, yeah, the same problem with the Hulk 181 is there's an AF-15. It's just oversaturated in the market, and you need a demand to be red hot to maintain prices on these books. And it slipped off a little, and prices have been sliding. Look, I had a Hulk 181 at 8.5 white pages, and I bought it less than 2 years ago now, probably like a little over a year ago I bought it. And I only paid like $27 for it. And then I sold it like 4 months later for $5,000 straight up. So, I mean, I doubled my money on it in like 4 months. And since then, that was October of 18 that I sold it. Since then, at 8.5 is still around 5,000. It hasn't moved at all. It's plateaued since then. So I got peak value on it, and it hasn't moved since. And it might even be a little down. I haven't checked it recently, but there's just so many of them out there. And I don't know. I mean, it's a good key book, but I think people get tired of paying these high prices when there's so many of them on the market. And then you get more competition from the sellers, and the prices go down a little bit. There's not as much rush to pick one up when they're just all over the place.
Well, but that's what I think of. There's the AF-15. It's already at such a ridiculous price that even I don't know what a 0.5 goes in that book, but not everybody could afford that. So the amount of sellers the amount of buyers you have for the Wolverine are so much more. Because look, for $5,000 you could get an 8.5. That's sweet. You'll never come close to getting an AF-15. It's just the pool of buyers is so small for that book.
I think 0.5 AF-15 and 0.5 is probably right around $5,000. No, it's probably $5,000 for a 0.5, I would think.
But maybe, it's a 0.5.
Maybe I know. I mean, if it, it's like, yeah, let's get a 7.5. You know what I mean? Like 0.5, some that's all you can afford if that's your grail. I mean, complete 0.5. There was one sold yesterday on Heritage. It was a 2.5 in an old holder, and it had, admittedly, a lot of Marvel chipping on it. But it sold for $10,000, and that's low for a 2.5 in an old holder that has to possibly be pressed or whatever. But I mean, that's a low price for a 2.5. I mean, 2.5s were selling for $15,000 not too long ago. And 10 grand for a 2.5, that's low. I'm telling you, that's a low price for that. But not a lot of people even have 10 grand to spend on a freaking comic book. That's ridiculous. So, a 0.5 of,
Well, I mean, that.
Hello?
And it was my car. I would or rent or hitch or whatever I had to do that book with the money and then figure out like that to me is good enough. So now what's my car worth, right? But probably not that much. But it's probably I could probably get 7 for it or so, easy on an easy flip, put a sign up in the window, and then walk home with my book. So some books are worth it for that, I think.
Well, and there's another thing, like, some collectors are, low grade's better than no grade. I hear that all the time, and I think I'm probably in the minority. I don't have that philosophy for myself. If I have a Grail and the only copy I can afford is a beat to hell 0.5, I would rather not have it. There's other stuff that I can enjoy in this hobby than blow my entire budget on just a rag copy of something just to say that I have it. For me personally, that doesn't work. So if there's a book I want that I can only afford 0.5, I just won't get one. I'll just go after others. There's plenty of other books I want that I can get in 4.0s or 8.0s or 9.4s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, if you were just really want an AF-15 and that's the pinnacle of your collecting goals and you just want one and all you can afford is the 0.5, get the 0.5 and you're more happy than I might ever experience in the hobby because I'm not going to go after stuff like that.
I'm gonna agree.
If you want to go for restored stuff too, you can get low grade better than no grade. You can get a lot of cool books, and it's just your personal taste. But there's some books I've passed on because they're restored, and I still don't own a copy, and that's fine. Maybe I won't ever own a copy, but there's plenty of other stuff I can get out there that's not like that. So
yeah, I'm
so
kind of,
guys. This is a great chat. Roger somewhere on a highway writhing because we haven't acknowledged all the great people that have joined us tonight since the last time we shouted out the group.
He went off the
road.
road.
I think this would be a good time to go through some of these people and say thank you for being here. I'm going to try and do it. So, I tell you what, Roger, go ahead.
All right,
Roger.
We got Chaos in Comics.
Well, it looks like we've lost Roger.
You got me confused. I
Roger's having some sort of technical. But we got the immortal Biggie Shack in the house. We got Poor Mike, Knights of Old, Super Russ. Is he still 9,000? He is still 9,000. Congratulations, Russ, on keeping that 9,000 threshold. We're proud of you. We got C3 Comics. We got Unruly Simeon still with us. We got Pope and Rayman still with us. We got Crazy Guy Comic. Let me try this again. Crazy Guy Comic Song Too Crazy. We got James Tamburo, always showing love and subbing people up. That's what he does. Thank you all for being here. Who am I missing? Count Von Strange the Fourth. Oh, fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Chaos in Comics. You guys are just lighting it up. Thank you. Gray Man's here still. You guys are just doing great. Mark Knapp 68. I wonder if it used to be Mark 69, only he took a nap in the middle. Then we got Knights of Old. Who else? We got Bad Dad 320. Wow, just fantastic. Thank you all for being here. We got Liking the Covers 4963 Hut. We got Thomas Churchill here, Comic Head 84. You guys are just blessing us. Thank you so much. Bake's still here. 1-2 Comic Talks in the house. You guys, Comics with Bueller was here for a minute. Don't know. He comes and goes. Bitbiter 0101. Get the bit. See, it's because it's a bit, so it's 0101. Anyway.
Yeah, so let me put a little qualifier out there because I know some people accuse me of being a little bit snobby in the hobby sometimes, and that's fine. It's whatever. I mean, sometimes I can be a little snobby maybe, but like, you know, oh, DS is a snob. He wouldn't touch a 0.5. He's too good for that. It's not so much that, but I set standards that I know will make me happy on a book. And then I go out and find that those standards on some books are way out of my price range. But the way I approach it is not to lower my standards, and they're just my personal standards, totally subjective. I don't lower those to get the books, because for me, I maintain the standards, and then it's a challenge to try to figure out ways to get the books that meet those standards, because then they start getting pretty expensive or hard to find or whatever. So this is why I try to flip a lot of books. I try to be creative in how I budget, and I try to keep a very small PC. I try not to get attached so that I can sell books if they've gone up in value and take a big profit, and I can use that to get something else. So I try to keep it fresh, and I try to keep it challenging. And it is extremely challenging because I have sort of standards, which when you apply to some books, makes it almost impossible to get those, which is why I don't have them. So, you know, I don't thumb my nose down at you know, 0.5s. It's not for me. And I want the challenge of trying to get, you know, the 4.5 of something, or a 4.0 rather than the 0.5. And that means maybe a lot of times I won't get it, but it drives me to and motivates me to try to figure out ways to get it. So it's the challenge that I enjoy more so than even the acquisition of it. Because a lot of times I get a book that I've, you know, wanted to get, and I'll finally acquire it, and it's like the rush is gone. It's the opposite for me. It's not like the rush. Once I have the book, I'm happy to look at it forever. I mean, some books are like that, but I notice for me, a lot of times I get books and then the rush is gone, and it's the challenge of getting the new thing is what's the rush for me, sort of. So, you know, that's just the way I approach it.
I think that's totally fair. I know that we had a couple of questions in the chat, more or less to that effect. I want to also say thanks to Bad Avenger for being here. 84 says he's watching on his TV, so thank you. And and Russ is gonna maybe change his name, drop down a peg or something. 8999. So thank you all for being here. And one or two of the, and Bad Dad's still here. So one or two of the questions in there were just kind of more or less about, you know, kind of what's wrong with a purple label, what's wrong with a restored comic. And I'll just address that in a roundabout fashion. And that's just that people have, or this is in my experience, this is coming from, you know, my life experiences. People have different life experiences, and therefore, you know, different experiences altogether, right? So, but I would say that for me, when I think of a restored copy being, say, we'll just talk in terms of labels, a purple label or a green label being an incomplete book, not so much one that has writing on the cover. I think most people generally forgive that. But I personally, if the book is Silver Age or older, I don't care what color the label is. I want to know what it says. So, for instance, if it's green because it's missing a centerfold, that affects me more than a coupon cutout. So I want to know what it is that's missing in that book, why it has a green label. I want to know why it had a purple label. Is it color touch? Is it glue? Sometimes it's just that the cover's got a piece of glue on it and it's attached back. Instead of using tape, they use glue. Well, the difference between tape and glue is restored or not, right, DS?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you're asking, like, is
just saying that when you look at it from a pure label color, for me, it doesn't really matter. It matters more the reason for the color.
Yeah, I mean,
and I evaluate it.
This stuff bother me more than others. You know, I don't mind tape on old books. I don't really care if it has tape. I mean, that's been used on comic books forever. Some collectors won't touch a book that has tape on it. I don't care about tape. I don't like glue, though, even if it's doing the same thing, because it's sort of like the tape is being honest and open with itself, and it's like, here I am, I'm tape. The glue is a little sketchier. It's like hiding, and you can't see it. And I don't like to have books, when I look at them, to have a fakeness to them. You know, I don't like my books with a lot of makeup on them, so to speak, where you can't tell what the book is. Pieces added, color touch, glue. you don't know what it really is supposed to look like, and it just has an air of fakeness to me that it bothers me for these books. I'd rather have a beat up copy than one that looks great because it has had all kinds of extensive work done to it. Tape doesn't bother me. I don't like rusty staples. They don't look good to me. I don't like rusty staples, but I don't mind tape. I hate color touch. Trimming is the worst. That's just my personal taste, but generally different hobbies treat things differently. In the movie poster hobby, I think trimming is not a big deal. I don't even think it hurts the value. In comic books, a totally different thing. And I guess it's probably because a lot of collectors sort of agree with me on it. But yeah, I mean, if it doesn't bother you, then it doesn't bother you. It's fine. And there's a lot of tiny collectors. I know Knights is in here. He's got purple labels. He's got green labels and books that are freaking impossible to get and super expensive. Yeah, that's cool. I tend to stay away from it. I just like books to be honestly presenting as they are. However, whatever life they've lived, I want to see it. I don't want it dressed up and makeup on it.
I think everybody agrees, trimming is the worst.
Yeah.
It's just so deceitful.
Yeah, and
I mean, one of the things that bothers me most about trimming is when I collect my Golden Age books is where you see, the majority of that. They usually have writing all the way down to the edges. Like on my Planet Comics books and stuff, they'll have writing and art all the way to the far reaches and the edges. Mm-hmm. And you actually lose some of that when they trim the book. It'll cut words off. Because it doesn't take much, just an eighth of an inch, and you can lose half a word. Just shear the bottom right off it. And that really bothers me because if all you end up collecting is the cover in some of these cases, right? Because the book is so rough, or it might be brittle pages, especially some of the books I pick up, then I at least want the cover. Like if that's all I have in the end, like one of the things that always gets me about, and it's okay, everyone collects their own way. We've said that 100 times, so hopefully we don't have to say that over and over again. But the idea that people go crazy over white pages, cream, off-white to white. And to me, if it's in a slab, I know that it affects the overall value of the book. But if I'm going to keep this book and intend to keep this book and it's already in a slab, heck, the pages could be black. You're never going to see them again if you're never going to pop it out of that slab and look through it. So, to me, page color doesn't really matter. So every collector is going to make allowances if it's a book that they really want. And they kind of decide what condition. Often they decide what price, too, that they want to pick up the book in. Right. I mean, I think if money's no object, you're in a whole nother realm. You're talking about the guys who are spending, 1.5 mil at Heritage Auction. Yes, they're looking at condition probably paramount.
Yes.
And they want that new case, and they want it to be the highest number they can get in that new case that they can afford, and they're willing to contend with others who are vying for that same type of book. So I get that. But for me, if you're going after the cover and it's trimmed, because in the end, really, to me, all a slab is a presentation of the front and back cover. Mm-hmm. That's for me what a slab basically is. It's just a nice, pretty case because I could care less about the number that it has on there. So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, well, the cover's trimmed, so I can't even appreciate the main thing that I get to appreciate in a slab. It's gone. You've taken that from me, and some people feel that way about color touch. Also, when they see that purple label and there's color touch, they feel the same way. Well, you've defaced the book. You've added color to it. You've changed it from its original state and from its original art, and they're completely opposed to it. People have a very, I wouldn't even say knee-jerk, but I'll say a very real and tangible reaction to purple labels. I don't usually see that with green. People say green, don't get a green label. It's not worth the money, or I want a complete book or whatever. But when people see purple, there's a big number of people, when they see purple, they get downright offended and they won't touch the book. It's off their list. They don't want purple at all. It's like horrible to them. So anyway, lots of different types out there. That's for sure.
There's something for everyone. I'm sure there's purple and green collectors that probably just go after those, Not that there's
might as well. You get them for less.
Yeah, and there's anything wrong with it. Like you say, everybody collects differently, and it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's it's still the book, even if it's restored, it's still the book, and it just comes down to personal preference. But again, with me, as a collector, I don't only collect things I like. If there's something I like that I think is not a good investment or is not a good value or a good deal, I won't get it because there's other stuff I like that is a good investment. So I collect what I like for value. I don't collect what I like if it has no value, and I'm not buying restored books that I like because I don't think it keeps the value as good as an investment. So I have sort of a very strong value element to my collecting as well. So I don't just buy things that I like. I have to like it, and then I also it has to be a good investment sort of value grade of it. And that's another reason I stay away from stuff that tends to hurt the value in the hobby. So it's whatever. If you just want to collect stuff you like and you don't care if it's restored and doesn't bother you, yeah, that's cool. But that's why I say a lot of people are happier collectors than me because they get books they want because they are willing to do that, and then I have books that I still don't own because I'm stubborn with my standards and I don't want to get a restored book. I don't want a certain low grade and whatever, so I end up not having it. And all these other people are getting grails, and here I am still without them. So whatever. I mean, I enjoy the challenge, and there's plenty of stuff to pick up. It's not like I'm missing out. You know what I mean? There's whatever your standards are. Pick them and then go after stuff on your that fits your standards, and there's plenty of stuff out there for everyone.
Books come around, man. If it's not the right book, pass on it. I'm not big into the green label, purple label, all that. I collect like that mid-range, and I just, if the book looks good, it's a good deal. I get it if it's worth it to me. If I don't have the book, I don't like getting too many multiples, which I don't have. One book in my collection is one of each is enough, but I like that middle ground. I don't like the low grades because I got standard. I think everybody has standards for the most part. A standard is not paying too much for a book. That's a standard, so you're gonna get something lower. But for me, it's that middle ground. Not that I sell books, but if I ever did, I just feel there's more buyers for that mid level, like. An example, let's say Hulk 181, you're going to have more buyers for a 4.0 than you are going to have for a 6. People just want that book in their collections. And a 4, there's a lot of beautiful 4s, especially in a slab. A 4, man, I love 4s. I love 5s. I love 6s. I love 7s. Would I want an 8, a 9? I think the perfect for me is an 8.0 for like a bronze book. A Silver Age book. Anything under, they still look good, but that prime spot for me is an 8. I don't need a 9.8 in a Silver Age book. I would love one, but I'm not going to pay that price too. And I don't think there's not that many people that can. So
yeah, liquidity is a big issue, especially when you're selling books a lot, like I do.
Yes.
And that's why you notice when I sell slabs of like Silver Age and Bronze Age, well, let's just say Silver Age stuff. Most of the stuff that I target for flipping or stuff that I sell that's Silver Age is mid-range. It's 5.0s. You know what I mean? 5.0 to 6.0. Most everything I have Silver Age that I sell is 5.0 to 6.0 because it's more liquid. Comics are not that liquid overall. It's tough to turn them into money. It's hard to sell books on volume. If you just have one book and you want to sell it, you can sell it, and it takes a few days or a couple weeks or a week or whatever. But if you're selling books on a regular basis, it's not easy to sell books. And it does matter. If you have a Hulk 181 and 9.8, the only way you're going to sell that in any reasonable amount of time is either sell it way below value, it still take time, or you send it to Comic Link or Heritage or something and just roll the dice and see what happens. And you don't know what you're going to get for it. But if you have a Hulk 181 and a 5.0, yeah, it's gone. I mean, I had a Hulk 181. I bought a package of 181, 180, and some other books. Low grade, I think the 181 came back at 2.5. That was great. I loved it. I knew it was low grade. I thought 2.0, 2.5, so it topped out 2.5. I sold it in a day, no problem.
Exactly.
That's right. If you're selling books, liquidity counts, and different grades are easier. High grades, they're tough to sell, man. I like, Bronze Age, 7 to 8.5 is a really solid range to sell for bronze. If you get anything like 7.5, 8.0 in bronze, it moves quick.
It's the sweet spot to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you had Like, I know we all watch the auctions, and the auction you had like a month or two ago, you sold every book in that auction.
Yeah, I had 19 books, and none of them were real high grade. They were all like mid grade stuff. I mean, I think some of the bronze were higher, like 9.2, 9.4 for some bronze stuff, but
you don't see that in an auction. When you see, there's a lot of things that people pass on. I was watching your that auction, and you had every book in the sweet spot, man. And
yeah, I try to do. I mean, I've got a bunch of CGC right now. I got like some ASM 15, 20, stuff like that, and they're all like 4.0, 3.5. That stuff will move. There's a lot of people want those books, and those grades are affordable for what people are budgeting for, and I'll move them no problem. ASM 20 and 3. I have one that I think is going to be a 3.5, and the other one's probably like a 4.5. First Scorpion, I think it is. Those will move quick. I'll have no problem selling it. Now, if I had an ASM 20 and an 8.5 or a 9.2, man, that would be a real pain in the butt to sell, honestly.
It's going to take you a while. It's going to take you a while.
I mean, I got Daredevil 1 nobody wants to buy. You know what I mean? I got a Daredevil 1 and a 5. That's hard to sell, man. I still have it, and nobody's bought it from me yet.
And you have it at a good price. I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's over $2,000 for a comic book. That's not really that liquid. You know what I mean? If I had a Daredevil in a 1.5, it would already be gone.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Also, it's the time of year too. A lot of people, it's Christmas and all that. You also got to pick your spots there. Like I imagine, tax season. It's a great time to move books.
Yeah,
when those things start,
people buy like crazy. I mean,
yeah, I hope so. I've got like 30 books at CGC, and they're all starting to show up as scheduled for grading. So they're all coming back soon. So it's gonna be nice. Hopefully, I can sell them.
I'm pretty sure you will. They're gonna be back at the right time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I got a Marvel Spotlight 5 that I think is gonna be like a 5.5. That's gonna be a very liquid book.
That's totally liquid.
Yeah.
That's desirable. It's hot, and that's a perfect. That's I think I have a 5.0, and I'm super happy with it.
That's cool. We've got all kinds of great people. We got Who Dat Comics has come in the chat. We got Mr. Gretzky. We got Tim the Comic Collector. We got let's see who else jumped in. I think Rod the Rican was in here. May still be Patrick Wall. Poor Mike's still here. I just want to thank everybody for joining us and being with us tonight. Just thanks, Boatwright Family Comics is here, so good to see you, Boat. Joey Bag of Sevens is in here. Just a bunch of great members of the comic book community. Glad to have you all here. We're honored to have you with us tonight, as always. And if you're here for the first time or you're just checking us out, come back every week. It's much the same. We just do it every week. What's that? I've been coming to the same party for a year and a half, and it never gets old. So, thanks, guys. Let's move. Let's go ahead and abandon things we want for this year and for next year and all that. We'll just look at our want list because DS already struck those 2 of those. I'll go real quick because I'm capable of doing that. So let's see. Let's see if it pulls up real quick. Okay, so if you guys can see this, good deal. If you can't, sorry. But these are the 6 books I put on my want list. They are so when I make my want list, this is what I do. I put it on Google Keep, which is like a note sharing app, right? And it's on my phone, it's on my computer, it's on anywhere I'm at, right? And so I also tag my wife in on it, so she knows what books I'm after. Now, it'd be very rare that she'd be hunting books that when I'm not involved. But if anyone ever said, hey, you got to be careful with, we want to get him a gift. We want to get old Bub a gift. And she knows that if I get something on this list, it's off the list, So this is a current set of books, and they're too expensive for me to pick up without telling her about it. Like, so she'll know when they come off the list, and she'll be able to kind of mitigate that, right? So what I do, and I don't know how clear, it's hard to read, obviously, with the size that we're dealing with. But what I do is that I put together a picture of each book that I want, and then I also write my kind of my target price for that book. And it, you know, if I see the book in hand or like in the wild, I'll usually go a little above it. But if I'm buying it online, I won't usually go above this price.
Okay.
So I got Batman Adventures number 12, First Harley Quinn, and I'll do that. If there's anything key about the book, I'll put it in parentheses. That way my wife knows why that's a key, and I can remind anybody, you know, why that's a key. So Batman Adventures number 12 is on my list. And I have $225 for that book. So if I see that book for $225 or less, if it's a good condition book, I'm probably going to buy it.
Well, let me ask you, what's your
Superman,
what kind of conditioning are you looking
right
for on like a Batman Adventures spot?
Well, like I said, to me, I'm not a real condition hound. I want generally a complete cover. I want a complete art and story in interior. So like if a coupon's clip out, that doesn't bother me. And other than that, that's pretty much it. And when I say a complete cover, I mean that Batgirl, I mean that First Harley Quinn, that should not be, it's a new enough book that even a low grade of that book should still be pretty decent. Like the lowest grade I've ever seen that book is like a 4, you know, even in the wild, when I come across that book, that's about the lowest I've ever seen it. So, and I should be able to get something mid-grade for about $225. I would say, so I don't really have a target grade. I just have a target price. And then that usually determines the grade. Superman 57 for $300, I should be able to get that book. That's a book. You can probably get that already slabbed for anywhere for around $300 in a low grade. But like anything else, availability is the key when you're talking about older books, right? So that's Golden Age Superman, I'm pretty sure. Then you got another one here, Superman 63. So you see there's kind of a theme. I'm trying to get some Golden Age superhero books is kind of what I'm after. Or pre-code, I should say. So that's Superman 63 with that great cover where he's like, I don't know if I can click on that, if it'll make it bigger.
Are these mainly cover buys?
But yeah, there you go. Do what?
Are these mainly cover buys?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because when you're talking about Golden Age DC, I mean, it's not even that. This book won't even be worth reading. It'll suck. That story's gonna suck so bad. Especially the Superman books, man. They're so campy.
Yeah,
they're so hard to read. For me.
Golden Age, the DC Golden Age. If it's a key, it's hugely expensive, and if it's just cover, it drops way off, and they're super affordable. So it's a completely different market for DC superhero keys versus non-keys. Price difference is night and day. So yeah.
Great cover, man. That's a great cover right there.
That book, I'm at like $250 for that book. I think I should be able to get that one. The other one's tougher because the Lois Lane carrying Superman falls into good girl art for Lois Lane in the Golden Age, which is kind of rare. So it's a nice full picture of him, and she's wearing a skirt, and she's basically dressed like Supergirl. So that's harder to come by. This book costs more when you find it in decent condition, or even in poor condition for that matter. And then these are two books, the Wonder Woman books, that I really struggled with. One's 37, one's 48. And I've got 300 on the 37 and 250 on the 48. So let's bring up the 48. So this is one for 250. You see this book quite a bit, actually. This book comes up a lot. It's not a rare book, but it's pretty cool because you get 2 images of Wonder Woman on the same cover. The only thing I don't like about it is that I wanted something with a little more yellow in the background. And she's wearing her sandal type shoes, and I prefer the boots. So, but you get a nice back side of her, right? And a front side. So you get to see a lot of Wonder Woman. You just don't get to see the boots, and I like the boots.
You're not
and very similar to that one.
You're not into Roman sandals?
Do what?
You're not into Roman sandals?
Not so much. No, I like my sandals to stay put. I don't want them roaming around.
Nice.
And we got this one. So this one is much more what I'm after. This is so the other book is kind of like a consolation prize. If I can't get Wonder Woman number 37, then I'll settle for 48. But this is the book I'm going to go after a little harder because it has, look at that back on Wonder Woman. It's got her boots. It's got the front of Wonder Woman. Very, very cool, you know? And it's got the yellow background. But this book goes for a pretty penny. And I think of all the books on the list, it's the most expensive. $300 is what I'm hoping to pay for that book. But I've not seen that book for $300. So my hope is I'll be able to get it for that, but I'm not like ridiculously optimistic. And then even though I pick up a bunch of Planet Comics books, this one has eluded me several times. And the reason is because they're often ruined. Like there's too much cover decay on them. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot of black on the cover. And it's Planet Comics number 70. And I just love that, like, he looks like a biker dude to me with the ray gun. He's got his knee in this guy's chest. I just love this book. And it's very hard to come by in a good condition at a fair price.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah, I just saw one of those listed today, I think, for like under $100 or something.
No, I don't believe it.
What number is it?
Send me the link.
What number is it?
Number 70. Number 70.
Yeah, let me see if I can find where I saw that.
Bub just paused. Did you feel that pause when you said for under 100? There was like a silent pause. He's like,
my heart's skipping a beat. Yes, if you find that link again, go ahead and buy it, and I'll just send you the money.
All right, yeah. Ship it to me. I don't think it was on eBay. That's the thing. I'm trying to remember where maybe I saw it. Okay. Let me see if I can.
Send me the link on it. I'll have that bought before the chat's over. So anyway, that's my list. That's the way I look at it. So as you can see, again, I'm not hunting for condition. I hunt for price. I want these books in my collection, and I want to pay for I want to pay the price that I want to pay. And that's why when I go to cons and stuff, I sometimes get a little bit better luck because I can work the price down to these prices. I already know what I'm after. In fact, I print this list off before I go to a convention, and I keep a copy, and I give a copy to my wife.
That's awesome.
That way, if she's separated from me and she sees it, she can pick up the book, call me, and say, "Come here, I found one of your books."
That is awesome. She does that for you.
Yeah. It hasn't worked yet, but she. But we
it will one day.
Oh. It will. It'll never work if you don't have a plan to make it work. It'll never happen. So at least I'm laying the groundwork. You know.
There you go, man. 2 set of eyes is better than 1.
Absolutely. And all these covers have a couple of sets on them. Yeah. Usually more than 2.
What I find interesting.
All right.
What I find interesting is that 5 of your top 6 are Golden Age books, and I think that's really cool. But that's that's awesome. You got 5 out of 6 are Golden Age books.
Yeah.
You know what else is crazy? 5 out of 6 are DC books.
Yeah.
Like,
and the other one is a fiction house.
Yeah. No Marvel.
I noticed the Golden Age. I've been watching your videos probably since you started, Bub, and you can see where your collecting habit has changed completely. And I noticed that too with DS. It's 5 Golden Age books. At the beginning, it's like you slowly, and now I think you're immersed in it, in the Golden Age.
I love it. I got to a point where my Golden Age collection was getting, I don't know, DS would put me to shame, and most of the people he runs with would probably put me to shame. But I feel like my Golden Age collection is fairly robust. I've got over 50 books in my Golden Age collection, and I have 1/3 of an entire run of my favorite Golden Age title.
Dude, you probably got more Golden Age books than me, honestly. It's probably close. I don't have that many.
Yeah, you could probably sell one and buy my whole collection.
I mean, they're pricey, but I only have like 60 Golden Age books, maybe something like that. I don't have that many.
Yeah,
I use a lot of them too.
I think you found your sweet spot, bro.
Yeah, but I didn't have any Golden Age superhero, and they don't have to be keys; they're just covers that I really like.
Yeah.
And so this is what I came up with. I wanted to round out the superhero portion of my Golden Age collection. I never stopped hunting Planet Comics, but I've actually got to the point now where I already have the books that come up readily.
Okay.
You know, the ones that come up often, I already have them. So now I just sit back and I watch new listings and I'm like, got it. And only like once a month does a book come up that I don't already have that's still affordable. You know, I mean, they come up that I don't have for like $500-600. And I try to keep it under 200 for those books. So, you know, once you already have it, you kind of stop looking as hard, and I just wait for a book to pop up that I don't have and is in a fair condition at a fair price. And then I jump on that. But it actually happens less now than it did even 4 months ago, because I picked up all those books that are readily available. And thankfully, I didn't just jump on the first one I saw. I've kind of watched the market. When you study a title really hard, you really learn the books that are harder to get and come up less frequently. You just naturally learn it. So you're ready to pounce when a good one comes. You just hope the budget's ready too.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like you're looking to upgrade at all. It's like you're happy with what you purchased. Am I right? It seems like you're
I only upgrade a book if it comes in a lot of another book that I needed.
Gotcha.
And then I'll upgrade it. But other than that, I don't upgrade books. Almost never do I upgrade books.
I don't do it often either.
Yeah, I stopped doing the upgrade game. And here's sort of what I noticed about upgrading, and this might apply to some other people. If you end up finding that you're stuck with stuff that you plan to upgrade and you still haven't, you're like, why the hell do I have all these books I haven't upgraded yet? What happens with me is I get a book just to get it, and then I plan on upgrading it. But when you have it in any condition, it sort of drains some of your motivation away. Just maybe a little bit, maybe a moderate amount, but it drains some of that motivation where you don't want to quite spend it this time on the upgrade because, well, I already have it. So let me do some of this other stuff, and maybe I'll upgrade on the next one that comes around, or maybe I'll look next month for the upgrade. It just drains, it saps a little bit of my energy and my motivation to get the upgrade that I realized I wasn't getting them. And I basically was just sort of in denial and being stuck with a book that I planned to upgrade, but that was my book now. And so what I've done now is I just pick what's the standards I want for a PC copy. And that's what I go after so that I don't have to upgrade. And it's much slower because if you're just looking for, low grade fillers, placeholders, it's much easier to acquire them. But then you don't always go out and upgrade the way you think you would. And I think for me, it's because it saps some of my motivation when I already have it in any condition. So I don't do that anymore.
I just don't want to spend the money on a book that I already have. That's mine. It's like I want to buy it the way I like it the first time, and I just don't want to. I just don't want to see myself putting money on that book again. I'd rather get something new that I don't have.
Yeah, well, that's what happened with my Startling 11. I bought that 2.0 with a lot of staining, and it wasn't the copy that I ultimately wanted to own. But I plan on upgrading it, and years would go by, and I still haven't upgraded it. So what I decided to do with that and some other stuff is I just cut them loose. I'm like, the best way to rekindle this motivation to get a good copy of this book for my PC is just cut it loose. Like when I reach the new world, burn my ships. And then, I'll be motivated to move forward. Seriously, if I burn the ships when I get ashore, there's no retreat. I have to move forward at that point. So I just cut it loose and sold it. So now I'm really motivated to get a good copy, whereas I wasn't the last few years because I had that ratty 2.0 and was zapping some of that energy. So
yeah, I can see that.
Awesome. All right, bro, you're up.
Okay. Last year, I did a list for the first time ever, and I knocked it out pretty fast. And then what I started doing was I just started, books come. I always think, if you don't get that book, another one's going to come and it might be a better deal. And that's what I started doing. I started getting all these great books at great prices just by hunting, being on eBay, going to a con. And I'm not going to do a list again. I pretty much got the books that I really sought after. And when I did that list, and now I'm seeing, I'm like in that, I don't want to spend over $100 on a book. Now, if something comes along, I'm not gonna, and it's the right price, I will pay. But my 2020 wish list is, man, it's minimal. I want to stay in that $40 to $60, $80 range. I've got my goals. It was a great 2019 was amazing year for my collecting and for YouTube and everything. That I'm just relaxing now. What I have done though is I'm cutting my pull list. I'm going back to the independents. I was buying some new books. I'm cutting that way down. I'm only gonna get a few titles that I do like to read, mainly image books, and I'm gonna save that money so when something does come along, I have the money to buy that $40, $100 book. Something pops, But yeah, I am this year. I want to enjoy some cons that I'm going to. I want to enjoy some of the people that I've met on YouTube, and I'm just gonna chill. Like I don't know. I don't know. I might do a couple of haul videos because I'm sure I'm gonna still be getting books, but it's not gonna be like what I showed in 2019. It's not gonna be the constant bangers. I don't collect runs. I just like cool covers. What? Let me change out a book that I got this year, and now I can't find the book. Oh boy, where is it? This one. I got this book just recently. I'm not a Spider-Man collector, but I found this 69 because it's a cover that I've been after. I think it's a beautiful cover, and that's what I'm going to be going after. Just cool Silver Age, Bronze Age covers that I don't have, and keep it like in that under 100 range. And I got this copy just the other day, and it's a beautiful copy, and that's what my collecting is going to be. The moderns, man. The money's in the silver. You get the most bang for your buck in the silver and in the Bronze Age. And yeah, Golden Age, that's a whole different. I leave that for you guys, the big boys. That's something I'm not jumping in. But the Silver Age, yeah, man, I've just got such an appreciation for it. I just love it. I just love the Silver and the Bronze Age.
Well, what's a realistic sort of Grail level book that you will be ecstatic if you come across a good deal and you're able to get that this year? Like, what's not maybe your biggest Grail ever, but realistic, big-ish type book that you'd be awesome to get this year for you?
Oh my goodness. I've reached my goal. I really don't have one. There's one book. I like all the Bronze Age Marvel keys, and there's one that I'm not gonna pay for. I don't see it just doesn't. I'm not attracted to the book. I can't see myself putting money down on it, and that's Tomb of Dracula #10, the First Blade.
Yeah,
that's like the one that I don't have, but I'm okay not having it, and I'm almost happy that I don't have it. Because it's like, I don't know, it's always like I don't know how to say it, but I'm not complete, and that's okay. I don't have to be complete, and I don't want to put the money down on that book. It's just
that book's been around for 40 years. It's not going anywhere. There's plenty of copies out there, and the price is jacked right now because of movie news and exactly like that. So it's not like the price is never going down again. I mean, that book will come a little bit more back down to earth and settle back down to where it should be as it continues its long trek of being a good investment over time. So if anybody's looking for a Tomb of Dracula 10, including you, right now is not the time to buy one. Just wait a year or 2 years or 3 years, and you can get a copy. But now is not the time to get that book. And it's not like that book's going anywhere. It's been around for decades before people are like, oh, I want that book. It just happened because you wanted it. Like, it's been around. It will still be around, and you will still find deals on it. I found a good deal on that book, and I wasn't even keeping it. And I got like a 6.0 or something. I was GPAP's auction, I think I bought it. Yeah, I mean, it's pricey, but I mean, that was a good deal for what the current rates were on it. And I mean, that book's around. There's no rush to get a book like that. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly how I see it. It's not the right time to buy a book, so it's not even on my radar because I don't want to plop down the. I had a chance to get one this year before it popped, and it was a great price. And I just like, man, I still don't want to pay that. I wish I would have, but I could wait. It's not. That's about it, man. It's not even high on my list. There's like one book that I got this year that I actually I have it at CGC right now is that I was ecstatic, and it wasn't even on my top 10 list. Is Thor 165, the Warlock.
Yeah,
man, and I found a
beautiful
copy. It's at CGC, and that book wasn't even on my top 10 because I didn't think I was going to come across one, so I go, nah, I'm not even going to put it on, and I did, and man, it is gorgeous. That I'm ecstatic with that book. That's like one of the books, my best purchases of this year. I can't wait to see what it comes back at.
Well, I'll tell you, and this is a little self-defeating. I maybe shouldn't say it, but Thor 165 is one of those books where there's tons of deals out there right now for it, and it's going to be it's steadily climbing right now at a nice pace. But that book is really going to jump when we get closer to having a Warlock in a movie. But man, you can find deals on Thor 165 out there left and right. I got 3 copies of it right now, and they're all nice, and I got good deals on all of them. And I will continue to buy them when I find deals on them. And that's a book you can find deals on if you search and you're patient. And yeah, it's an awesome book. And now would be the time to get that book. But just keep an eye out for deals and look diligently for deals on that book, and you can score one.
And that's what I did. I was patient with it. And I just got it in my head. I go, you know what? I'm going to start looking. And it took me like a month that I found a price and the condition in the book. Because, look, everybody, I don't like creases. I don't like a lot of ticks. I just like a nice, clean book. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like the corners, I don't care too much about the corners. But everybody has something with the book. Even a crease, if the crease isn't so like that, there's creases that really are noticeable on books. If I find one that has a crease and it's not that, it doesn't break color so bad, I'm happy with that. Yeah, that book is gonna pop huge. I'm probably I might be looking for another one of those because it's such a beautiful Kirby cover. It's gorgeous. That's a book that's gonna pop.
Which number are we talking about?
165.
Yeah,
Thor 165.
Yeah.
What did I just put up?
Yeah, I gotta pull that.
I wish I had it because I got it actually at CGC right now.
I got one up. If you want to show it, you can put on all the screens up again. I just grabbed one of the ones I had. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Coming up.
There's so much potential in that book. Yeah, that's it right there, man.
Yeah, and I've got.
Yeah, there you go.
I got 3 copies of it. I've got 4 copies of FF67, and I've got 3 copies of Marvel Premiere 1. I'm not in any hurry to sell them, but they're good books. You can find deals on them. They're Warlock keys, and 2 years from now, these things are going to be red hot, and they're excellent investments. So I've been picking them up when I see them, and what I'm actually doing now that I have so many copies of each is I'm just putting together sets. I'm going to have one of each in a set, and I'm having 3 sets, 3 complete sets of those Warlock keys, and I'll just hold them, and when the price gets where I think it should, based on movies or whatever, I'll sell them off.
The thing with this one, that 166 is almost like you got to pair it with that one. You know which one I'm talking about?
Which one are you talking about?
166, the one that comes directly after.
Yeah. That part pairs with it too, just like FF66 does too.
Yes.
But this is what happens though. I start thinking, let me get some 166s to go in this set. Let me get some FF66s, and then I start feeling like now I'm doing a run filler thing again, and I'm putting together too many books in these runs. So I cut it off on the 3 big ones. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, for a PC, 66 is a good 166 is a good one, and FF66 is a good one, and then Warlock #1 is a good one. The first one's title. I mean, they're good books, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to have Warlock, and it's probably like 2022 maybe is when it come out.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Marvel Premiere 1. That one's gone up. That one's already ticking up too because that was not that expensive a few years ago.
Yeah, I got a nice copy of that for like $80.
Yeah, that's it. That's the 166.
Yeah, I got this one for like $80. And I've just held it since then. But I mean, $7.5 for $80. I mean, I don't know what it's worth now, but it's worth more than $80, and it'll keep going up.
That's probably going for about $225.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I'm not in a hurry to sell it, but it goes nicely with this one. And then I've got the FF67s. 2 are at CGC. 1 is here, and I actually just bought one earlier today. Really clean white copy for what I thought was a reasonable price. So, yeah, I love picking these up. You can find good deals on them.
There's deals out there, man. You just have to look. You have to look and be patient. I think that's the best advice I could give anybody, hunting their keys. Be patient, man. Books come around. If it's not the right one for whatever reason, just wait, man. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Comics aren't a sprint.
There's another one I found. I think this is a good deal if anybody's looking to pick up a good book that's going to go up. FF18. I think that's a good one too.
That's a great one. The first Super Scroll. That is a great spec.
Yeah, so 4.5 with white pages I got for 200 and change, I think I paid. Low 200s I paid for this, 4 or 5 with white pages. I thought that was a good deal. I mean, I think it's worth more than that now by a little bit, but I think it'll go up. So good, and it has a nice date stamp too.
I could see that popping. That's nice.
See a date stamp?
I love the date stamp. That's killer.
Yeah, and it's got white pages. It's a nice liquid grade. It's a good looking copy. So yeah, that's nice. I'm happy to have that one.
Like I brought that up to like my shop owner, like one of my shop owners, and he kind of looked at me and I go, man, that book has so much potential. He looked at me and he goes, yeah, but it's a villain. I go, they're already in the movies. They've already introduced the scrolls. I see that the Super Scroll more as a villain, maybe at the beginning that Doom for the Fantastic Four movie. I see that as an amazing villain that they could introduce, and he's already in there. They just got to tweak it, and yeah, that's a huge spec book for me. I don't have one, but that's a huge spec book in my opinion. Well,
the FF18 you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the FF18. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of them out there, and if you go on eBay, people ask for big prices on them, but you can still find copies like 4550 for like $200. I think that's a decent price for this book that has nowhere to go but up. And if you can find one like this has white pages and a cool date stamp for it in the 200 range, yeah, I think that was a good buy. And they're out there. I mean, I got this one off eBay, I think, not too long ago, maybe last month.
Wow, that's awesome. I would have got it if you did it. I was probably looking for the Thor one. I was probably looking for the Thor one. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, the only thing, it has a lot of Newton rings, but whatever.
You know what? I don't mind the Newton rings, man. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. Newton rings don't bother me.
All right. Well, when this hits $500, hit me up and I'll sell it to you. As soon as I can.
I tell you, it's hard to overcome DS's extreme generosity in these instances. It's just this guy.
No, you know what? When GPA is at 600 for this, I will sell it for 500, and that'll be double my money, and it'll be a great deal for somebody.
Exactly.
That's what I do. I'm not trying to push GPA and set new sales records. I'm trying to make a profit and move books, and especially if it's people in the community, I will cut deals on it. I mean, you guys see me sell books. I'll cut deals on it to people in the community as long as it leaves me a profit. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do with this. It's just, for now, it's just hanging out here, and it's a cool book.
And that's the way to do it. You got to leave some meat on the bone. You can't just expect to get. I
agree.
That's the way to make it. Buy low and make money, and you just got to decide how much you want to make on it. And just think about it. You got that for the low twos. You sell it at you made a $300 investment just by waiting, and you can't beat that, man. You can't beat that. And you'll give somebody a deal at the time. So no, that's perfect. It's like you guys gone to shops, and I've gone to shops where the shop owners price their books like if they're all 9/8 slabs and they're raw books. I don't know how those shops stay in business, because then you go to another shop and you could tell that they
don't, because I sell them books that are 2.5s.
Exactly.
Well, it's sort of one of my other little secrets is whether you're a collector or a flipper or whatever, aside from moderns that are just coming out, because that's with the LCS, that's where you get new books every week on Wednesday. Aside from that, gold, silver, bronze, copper age stuff, the worst place to go is the LCS. I never go to the LCS. The only time I ever go to any LCS is when it's, I'm out of town. I like to go check out new shops. And sometimes they have a Golden Age book I like. Sometimes I can dig and find something. But, I feel like a comic shop is not a place to score deals on books that you want for your PC, or to score deals on books to flip. And I feel like the time invested in digging through for dollar books to flip or get, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, it's not for me. And for bigger books, you're not ever going to get a deal at a comic. That's like the worst place to go for a deal. And it might just be my history of the shops that I have lived around and been to. But I never go to comic shops anymore unless I'm out of town just to check out a new one.
Well, I agree with you. Like where I'm at, there's a lot of shops, and I could say that there's 3 shops that are the 3 shops that I do hit up on the regular, that they do deal. They do price their books to sell. Not every book, but it's like being on eBay. It's not every book is going to be that book, and it's going to be in the sweet spot. But they do have it. I'm just lucky. You go to other shops in my area, and it's like, are you kidding me? And I'll go. I go by 2-3 shops. I go by 3 shops to get to my LCS, just because they work with you and they know what they're doing and they take care of me. You know. But,
yeah, I mean, if you have a shop like that, you're lucky. My current shop doesn't have any silver, Bronze Age stuff out. They don't, anything that's over $20, they don't even keep out. It's in the back, and you got to ask for a specific issue, and they'll go check and see if they have it. And then they want full eBay price on it anyway. So, and I don't have a good shop to go buy stuff unless you're buying new stuff on Wednesdays.
Right.
You got a shop that'll deal, that will work with you, that. Yeah, I mean, that might be good, but for me, I haven't run across that in recent years, so I just stopped going.
Wow.
Man, if I went past 3 comic shops to get to a 4th comic shop, I'd be in another state.
we're like, down here, man. I don't have those kinds of options, you know. When I got a crappy shop, I talked to a guy today who is opening a comic shop. Meanwhile, another comic shop is closing. So I'm like, wow. I talked to the guy today. I was messaging him on Facebook, and I was just asking him, like, what's the deal's going to be? And he was like 15% on pre-orders and pull lists. I'm like, okay, I can go online and get 35%. So, and then he said that you can pick up your pulls and pre-orders at 5:30 on Thursday night. I was like, what does that mean? What? Means if I show up to the shop on Wednesday, I can't get my book. So I don't really even understand what he was coming at with that. I never heard that before. So they open in like 15 days. They open the 15th of January. I'm going to go in there. I know the 2 guys that are running it because it's a small comic community where I'm at, right? So I know the 2 guys that are running it. And one of the guys I really like, and the other one's just okay. You know? So I'll see what I got to do. And they do get their hands. They buy a lot of collections. So they do get their hands on a lot of sweet, you know, Bronze Age and Silver Age books. And they sell them at, I consider to be fair prices. So maybe I'll just use them for that. And I won't have to fool too much with the new stock. And I'll just buy that, you know, online. But it's a shame that you can't, in my area, if you found a comic shop that did everything, like had new books on the racks. Heck, I know some people like, you know, limited variants if they had new books and variants and all that stuff. But my town's not even big enough for that. Like, there's not enough people here to support the comic shop having to buy 50 copies of some crap book just to get the variant, you know? And then there's only one of them. And there's no chance I'm getting that sucker, you know? Bub, if you live down here in Miami, in the Miami area, you would go nuts. Because
I know.
With your negotiation skills, you would be... You know what? It's a good thing you're not here because you might put out of business. But you would. There's 3 shops that I go to, and they're run by really good people, and they know what they're doing, and they take care of you. I just wish I had the time to go to. I go to mine on the regular, and the other 2 I hit up like once a month, and I always find something, and they don't try to. They price what the book is worth or under, and then they work with you also. So I'm blessed. This area.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, guys. This has been fun. It really has been fun. Thanks, Hialeah, for stepping in. You know, we've had tons of great people in the chat tonight as well. The panel's been fantastic. You guys answer questions great, and you feed into the conversation. Really just fantastic always a pleasure to talk to you guys anytime, really. And such a pleasure to be able to share that with the rest of the comic community on Monday nights. And I got to tell you, we need to wrap it up. It's getting late. Mrs. DS has probably got the rolling pin in hand.
And, she's outside the door, I
think. So we'll start wrapping it up. Why don't we go ahead and say our goodbyes? If we have any signature goodbyes, that's fine. We'll start with you, Roger. Roger. Roger's having some technical difficulties. He's been having trouble all night. How about you, DS? Why don't you say your signature goodbyes? Well, you got anything coming up on your channel too? I'll throw that out there.
I should. I mean, I'm going to try this coming year to do more content. I don't put out videos too often, but I do put them out. It's just not as often as a lot of other channels. So I don't know specifically what's coming out, but I've got 5 packages at CGC right now coming back. So I'll do some CGC unboxing soon, and that'll all be in advance of selling a bunch of that stuff, pretty much all of it. So stay tuned and keep an eye out for that. That's pretty much it. Great chat tonight, though. I really appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah, for sure.
Unboxing videos, DS.
What's that?
I can't wait to see your unboxing videos.
Thanks. Me either.
They're called auctions.
Silver and bronze stuff. All keys, pretty much.
Well, cool. Thank you for that. And Hialeah, do you want to got anything coming up on your channels, and you want to say your goodbyes?
Yeah. Next week we'll probably me and Conquistador Xavi will be back with another episode of Inquiring Minds on my channel. That's Tuesdays at 9. And I just want to thank you guys for inviting me on the last show of the year. Roger, you were missed. And thank you so much for having me. I do have a little catchphrase, and it's just quick and simple, and it's just so long from the Sunshine State.
Oh, I like it. That makes me want a glass of orange juice. I love it. All right, guys. Well, it's been a fun night. Roger, of course you were missed. You know you were missed. We love you. There hasn't been near enough gushing, empathy on this chat tonight, and love and all the stuff that Roger's. He's got daisies in his hair. He's such a good guy. So we miss you. We will catch you next year. And thank you, Hialeah, for being on tonight. Thank you, DS, as always, for joining me in this chat. And I think Hialeah does good coming in as a pinch hitter. So we'll have you a couple times on as well to have you with, so you get to enjoy Roger also, or DS, or the full group. But then if you don't mind filling in every now and again, I really appreciate that. And you're awesome to talk to, one of my favorite members of the community. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being on with you guys.
You rock, man. All right, so we're gonna sign off. Thank you all for watching, and remember, let's see, do I have a comic? I gotta find a comic. Crap. All right, so remember, read a comic and don't apologize for the glare.
Nice.
Catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Happy New Year.